That's one of the best podcasts ever. Ever. Top 5 dead or alive. Welcome to Pod Caviar. I'm your host, Tony, coming at you live from the Empire of Caviar studios located in beautiful Los Angeles, California. How's everybody doing today? We got a great episode coming up. But first, you got to hit subscribe. I got to do this whole thing. And this is great content. So I'm going to wrap it up. Listen, I know you know what I'm about to say, and you know that I do this every episode, but you gotta subscribe. You gotta press subscribe. Subscribe to this podcast. It's the most widely available podcast in the world for a reason, because you gotta subscribe, and you got many different choices to subscribe. You got iTunes, you got Spotify, you got iHeartRadio, you got Google Music, whatever it's called now. You got Amazon Music, whatever, man. The main ones are covered, okay? If you're one of those weirdos that get podcasts for some off-brand place, then it's probably there too. The most widely available podcast in the world. I don't just say that because it's catchy. It's real. If there's a place where podcasts are hosted, Pod Caviar is more than likely there. So hit subscribe. Subscribe there. Subscribe here. Subscribe everywhere. All right. Why does this look like? Oh my God, my levels look horrible. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. But yeah, today we're gonna be talking about the future. We're gonna be talking about shape-shifting metal, similar to what you see in what you've seen in Terminator 2, but not I shouldn't have said similar, but we're headed in that direction. And I'm gonna talk about how evolution is. How AI is the next evolution in humanity, and how our life expectancy and staying alive holds us back as a species. So let's dig into it, bro. Let's dig into it. And of course, I got YouTube on and TV. Shout out to Smoke and Scan. This guy, I think his name is Dan. I'm so bad with names, but if you look up Smoke and Scan on YouTube or Twitter or Twitch, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, it's this real cool guy that sits and watches. He streams high-speed chases. He's out here in LA, so every day there's a high-speed chase, and that's not an over-exaggeration. I'm not shitting you. Every day there's a high-speed chase, at least once. At least one. And even when we're in the lockdown, even I did a little bit of streaming of high-speed chases, mostly on TikTok. I would take TikTok of them and find them on YouTube or whatever, probably like screen recorded from one of his streams. But yeah, they had one, the most, I was about to say the most widely available high-speed chase. The most memorable high-speed chase I've seen since I've been out here was one high-speed chase was going down the highway, I think the 405, and then another one got on the 405, and then the one that was behind the first one like caught up to the other one, and they had to like get off the highway to like get away from the other cops chasing the other person. I was like, this place is insane, bruh. Fuck that. I'm texting Nicole right now. We're doing some last minute Christmas shopping. All right, so I was on Facebook last week. One of my good friends, Viante, shout out to Viante. She posted this story about shape-shifting liquid metal. That's the title. Shape-shifting liquid metal could revolutionize robotics. This can be utilized in many fields, including soft robotics and flexible computer displays. Oh. High-speed chase still going on. Cop car 659 is right up that ass. All right. This is on Interesting Engineering. This is an article that was posted back in April of this year. April of this year, and it's about shape-shifting liquid metal. This picture is really dope. It looks like the guy from Terminator 2 and the T1? No, the T1000 was the Terminator, right? What was that liquid metal guy from Terminator 2? Hold on, let's Google it. Liquid metal guy from Terminator. Oh, it was the T1000, yeah. So what was Terminator's name then? Was he the T100? Was he the T500? But it looks the same. Remember how they broke the kid's mother out of the psych ward, and then one of the hooks, the T1000 was chasing him, and like one of the hooks, he shot the hook off, and it was like stuck in the trunk of the car. So the kid reached back and like threw it. It became liquid again, and like went into the T1000's foot to become to rejoin the hole. That's what this looks like. Okay. And if you're thinking that this is going to end up being the end of the world, you got to understand that the T1000 wasn't there to like kill humanity. He was there to just kill the Terminator. And John Connor. No, he was there to kill John Connor so that John Connor couldn't save humanity and like defeat the robots. So yeah, maybe he was kind of half-assed there to end the world. They were playing the long game. They were playing the long game by going back in time. Yeah. So the article starts off by saying shape-shifting metal likely brings to mind images from Terminator 2, see what I mean? Or even Avatar, The Last Airbender. Oh, I didn't watch that. Sorry. I thought they were talking about the other Avatar. But this futuristic sounding premise is a lot more fact than fiction. From self-healing robots to reconfigurable electronic circuits, the application of liquid metal are only limited by the imagination of the scientists working with them. See, when I read that, I was immediately like, what the fuck? Because the liquid metal are only limited by the imaginations of the scientists working with them. What if one of these scientists is like evil? What if they want to make a T1000? You got to think by now, the scientists that we have working on stuff like this is they know, they've seen Terminator 2, and why wouldn't they want to make that? Huh? I understand the thought process. I want to make something like what we saw in Terminator 2, but not evil. Not evil. Recording right now. Nobody wants to make an evil robot, you feel me? But what happened in Terminator? Skynet wasn't designed to automatically take over the planet and like nuke everybody and kill all of humanity. No, it decided to do that on its own. The premise was have this computer program that like integrates with everything, and like everything will be fine. And then when we flip the switch on, Skynet was like, yo, I think we have 2 high-speed chases going on again at the same time. There's a lot of activity going on here in LA. But what did it do? Like Skynet came active and was like, you know what? The problem with this planet isn't computers, it's not animals, it's humans, it's you, it's y'all. So when you have an article and it says something like the application of liquid metal are only limited to the imaginations of the scientists working with them, that's a big ass gray area. It goes on to say, in 2017, scientists at the University of Sussex and Swansea University invented a way to morph liquid metal into 2D shapes using an electrical charge. And this, that electrical charge, when you take metal that's normally solid, and then like you add a charge to it and it becomes liquid. That's kind of like going back to that Roswell thing where people swore up and down there was aliens. And I was like, maybe it's just some sort of prototype technology. Here's what we don't know. Was it aliens for sure? I don't think so. Was it an experimental technology? Maybe this technology came from the alien craft instead of just some research lab. Who knows? All I know is that it's probably not aliens. I'm going to be honest with you. If it was, they came from a portal, a wormhole, something. I don't know. But I don't think it was aliens. But yeah, they invented a way to morph liquid metal into 2D shapes using an electrical charge. Though still in the early stages of development, this team's research could open up new possibilities in soft robotics, smart electronics, computer graphics, and flexible displays, which we've already seen flexible displays in cell phones. So yeah, this is the liquid metal technology, adding a charge to metal and then using it to morph things and then change things in ways that we've never seen before. That is one of the ways that it's being applied in current technology. Cell phones. That's what it is. They also said that it could be used to repair circuitry and do all sorts of other cool things that actually are pretty good. Because let's say you drop a laptop. Let's say you drop your laptop, drop the shit out of it, drop it down some stairs, and it's all fucked up. What if you were able to take some of this, take like a syringe of liquid metal, just insert it into the laptop, and then tomorrow it's fixed? And the only thing you have to worry about is like cosmetic damage. Would you be down for that? It says, because the electric fields used to shape the liquid are programmed by a computer, the position and shape of the liquid can be programmed and controlled dynamically, meaning it can be changed on the fly. You could just get on the computer and be like, oh, I want it to be a triangle. Oh, I want it to be a square. I want it to be a circle or sphere. And it's like, whoop, 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 whoop. It'll do it dynamically. Liquid metals are extremely promising. Oh, liquid metals are an extremely promising class of materials for deformable applications. Their unique properties include voltage-controlled surface tension, high liquid state conductivity, and liquid-solid phase transition at room temperature. That's crazy, bruh. That's crazy. The surface tension is, damn, what is that? I know it. I'm going to have to look it up because me trying to explain it from memory is just, surface tension, the tension of the surface film of a liquid caused by the attraction of the particles in the surface layer by the bulk of the liquid, which tends to minimize the surface area. It's like before you break through. Oh no, surface tension is like when mosquitoes land on water but don't fall through. It's surface tension. Tendency of liquid surfaces at rest to shrink into the minimum surface area possible surface tension is what allows objects with higher density than water, such as razor blades and insects, to float on a water surface without becoming even partly submerged. So there you have it. Carnegie Mellon metal alloy. That same year, research engineers at Carnegie Mellon University created a metal alloy that exists in a liquid state at room temperature and can capacitate liquid metal transistors, flexible circuitry, and perhaps even self-repairing circuits in the far-flung future. Man, and I don't think that it's that far away like this article is trying to seem. We've already seen robots, and it's not really robots. They're like cells that can reproduce on their own. So if you mix that with this, maybe we'll get some sort of T-1000 type situation. I know people are going to hear this and be like, well, this sounds horrifying. Is he really going to, when is he going to be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal? No, it is that big of a deal. Because when you have this and that, the cells that can reproduce on their own, the machines, the liquid metal that can fix itself and do all this real cool shit with circuitry, and let's say you mix them together with a scientist and this technology that is only held back by the imagination of the scientists, you can absolutely see that in the near future we will have AI that is like this, bruh. It may not be a T-1000 where they can, whatever they touch, they can turn into, but is that really something that we haven't seen? I know we've seen it in Hollywood, but if you read this article and then you know about the cells that can reproduce on their own, I mean, add it together. It says a university in China that created a metal material so light that it could float on water. The researchers believe it could be used to construct lightweight exoskeletons and shape-shifting robots. Let's click on this because it linked another article that I didn't read yet. The shape-shifting robots from Terminator 2 may be in for a reboot on the high seas. A liquid metal alloy less dense than water has been made by injecting the metal with glass beads, and it could be used to make lightweight exoskeletons or transformable robots. Trying to tell you, bruh. Trying to tell you, despite its extremely low density, wow, the liquid metal material still maintains excellent conformability, electric conductivity, and stiffness variety under temperature regulation. Wow. It will likely take some time before we see shape-shifting floating robots or self-repairing circuits in our daily lives, but in a few decades, these innovations could revolutionize how we think about metal. I will say within the next, it won't even take a decade. I'll say within the next 3 to 5 years, 7 years at the most, we will see this technology because we got to do something. We're already running out of computer chips. And we haven't even, we're running out of computer chips. We can't produce enough, but we're trying to figure out warp speed, light speed, wormholes, going here, going there, exploring the universe. How are we going to do that if we don't incorporate this technology into what we already have to make a better future that's more efficient and easier for us to maintain? Like, how are we going to do that? Computer chips are already as small as I think they're going to get. As I said in another episode, computer chips have gotten smaller every few years, and there's like hold on, let me look that up too. Computer chip smaller theory. Moore's law refers to Gordon Moore's perception that the number of transistors on a microchip doubles every 2 years, though the cost of computers is halved. Moore's law states that we can expect the spread and capability of our computers to increase every couple of years, and we will pay less for them, which is true. But at the same time, in 2021, we're running out of computer chips. So the price isn't going down, it's going up. Yes, they've gotten smaller. There's more and more, you can get it. Like I said, it's not, what was it? The other episode that I said, the computers don't take up whole rooms anymore. You don't need a separate AC unit just to run your PC. And we've all seen that picture where the guy had the camcorder, he had the Walkman, he had the Discman, he had the other voice recorder, he had a a voice message machine and all that. But then everybody's like, oh, this fits into your pocket now. And they talk about your cell phones. That falls into Moore's law. Because if iPhones had came out in 1995, they would be $1 trillion. Nobody would be able to afford it. But in 2021, everybody has an iPhone, right? The misguided have Androids, but everybody has an iPhone. What's the next step in evolution? This brings me to my second point in this episode. What is the next step of evolution? This article in Interesting Engineering is just saying that the last part where I said it will likely take time before we see shape-shifting floating robots or self-repairing circuits in our daily lives, but in a few decades, these innovations could revolutionize how we think about metal. This can help us go to other planets. What's the thing that's holding us back the most from going to Alpha Centauri or any of these other planets that we know about but are like light years away? It's the fact that humans die, and we don't have we don't have the means to keep us alive forever. The next step in human evolution is to have AI. And I really believe AI, artificial intelligence, will be the next humanity. They will be the next step in evolution in humanity, because we will die if we put ourselves in a spaceship and say, okay, we're going to go to Alpha Centauri, and it's going to take longer than we live, our life expectancy, without suspended animation, without cryogenic freezing. How are we going to live long enough to get there? Hollywood has it to where we put a bunch of humans on this Ark type ship, and then basically the first generation of humans knows they're going to die on that spaceship. But they're just going to keep reproducing, and then it's like, by the time we get to Alpha Centauri, we'll have this long history of people on this ark that have helped us get to this point. But it's like, wouldn't it be better for us to accept the evolution is that AI, we can make a T-1000 that's not here to kill John Connor, but to look at humans. Here's what I think. This is what I think. I'm thinking that when we have AI, They're going to look at humanity and say, what's the issue? What can we cut from this? Because computers, the universe, whatever you want to, they're both looking to become more efficient. What can we take from humans? What can we eliminate from humans that makes them less efficient? Well, if you're AI and you can self-heal and you don't need to rest, you don't need to eat, you just exist and do things, do different tasks that humans do, but you don't have to die. So, number one, the next step in human evolution is the elimination of death. How do we do that? Well, we do that through AI. We can come up with the scientific ways, like we can let's stick to the robots right now. Let's stick to AI. I'm not saying that's the only way, but let's stick to AI. You got one robot. It's going to come in here and it's going to say, hey, okay, I've scanned through the whole history of humanity and I got some things to work on. You guys are fucked up and mad crazy. But if you take out anger, if you take out fear, if you take out the need to eat, sleep, breathe, die, these are things that hold us back, man. How much more productivity do you think you would be get out of yourself? How much more productive would you be if you didn't need to stop to rest, or if you didn't stop to eat, take a lunch break? All these things. If you weren't scared to take that next step, where would you be in your life if you weren't scared to take that next step? If it not just get over your fear, but like if fear wasn't a concept anymore. Like where would you be at in your life? How many wars would not be a thing if anger wasn't an issue? If we have these if we take this liquid metal theory and somehow shape that into an artificial intelligence that looks like a human, acts like a human, but doesn't have any of the shortcomings that humans have, how would that would open the door for us to really explore the universe? What would it look like? It would look like Star Trek, but everybody's a human. Everybody would be Data, right? And I get the human touch, quote unquote. There's certain things that I believe that humans will always be better at as opposed to robots, because they don't understand. They understand the data of humanity, but not the soul of humanity. But in order for us to and maybe AI will come up with a solution to prevent humans from dying. Death is inevitable. We have not found a way to stay alive. And we need that so that it can open the door for us to explore the universe. We don't have wormholes. We don't have portals. Those are theories. Those are conspiracy theories, or just theories, urban legends, myths. Look up wormhole theories right now, and you will not see anything that's concrete, because we have not observed it in our universe. We haven't observed it in our galaxy. We haven't observed it in anything other than Interstellar, basically, or Deep Space Nine. Hollywood productions, right? Cryogenic freezing. I mean, and I don't even think we can do that. So how are we supposed to go to these other planets if we're not going to survive when we get there? You just be a spaceship full of dead bodies. What kind of welcoming committee is that? What kind of exploration is that? We're stuck. The next evolution in humanity is to eliminate death. The best way to do that right now is to implement AI. It sounds like I'm talking about the Borg right now. And I feel like maybe, oh, no. Hold on. My music is going crazy. Oh, yeah. We're at 30 minutes. Yeah, you know, it's wild. It's like, when you think about it, when you sit down and actually think about it, and I'm glad I saw this article. I'm glad she posted it. And I'm glad that I was able to read it and do this podcast, because I had already been thinking about this. Without some sort of major scientific breakthrough that allows us to either travel at the speed of light, even if we did, we still have to, we would still have to be in some sort of suspended animation. We can't escape death, and it's really keeping us here on Earth. We could go to the moon. We can go to Mars. That's cool. Those are the only two. Like, the moon isn't even a planet. We can't go to any other planet besides Mars. That's about it. Most of them, and honestly, most of them will just die. Mercury is too far from the sun. So is Venus. Earth is Earth. We're already here. The moon, we've been to the moon. We're going back. Mars is like there. So we could go to Mars, but then we can't go to Saturn. We can't go to Jupiter. Can't go to Neptune. Pluto is too far out. And these planets are like really fucking hard to, even if we could, it'll be hell. Looks like a trash bag. Too bland. Yeah. So what are we gonna do? How are we gonna see any other planet besides looking at them through a satellite, not a satellite, well, satellite or a telescope or something? How are we going to actually set foot on another planet if we can't live long enough to get to these other planets, and we don't have wormholes, portals, light speed? Even if we had light speed, it's still hella far. You feel me? We have to defeat death in order to expand and go out and be the people that we've always watched on TV and in movies. AI can help us do that, but we won't be there to see it. Maybe there'll be a way to synthesize a person's brain and then bring them back in an artificial, like an AI avatar almost. We saw that. We see Avatar, right? But what if it's an avatar of you, your brain, your thoughts, but you're not human anymore? So now you can hop on that spaceship and just go. It sounds crazy, but that's the future. That's a future. That's a possibility. Definitely. It's definitely something to think about. And it is a conversation starter. The holidays are coming up. If you're going home to see your family, bring it up. Put this podcast on and listen to every second of it. And then when it's over, stop it and say, what are your thoughts? Is he right or is he insane? And then find me on Twitter at Not Having It and tell me what you think. Let's chat about it. Because it is it's something that's been on my mind. How the fuck are we supposed to get to these other planets when we're going to be dead? We can't even stay alive. Even Graham had a great idea where he said put the orb that has cameras and like can transmit the data and the videos and the feed back to planet Earth. That's a step in the right direction. But who knows? The only thing we have to do is survive long enough to see how we as humanity are going to tackle this and overcome it. I mean, we've overcome damn near every other problem that we've ever had. And if we come back as AI with a synthesized digital brain, we won't have to worry about any disease. We wouldn't have to worry about wearing a mask because all that shit would be eradicated. Of course, you would have like computer viruses on some Ghost in the Shell shit, but it's even Ghost in the Shell. That might be a viable solution, right? It's just it's the future, and the future it's closer than we think. So we as humans have to figure out what's holding us back the most, and then figure out what type of sacrifices can we make in order to beat it. What kind of sacrifices and advances do we have to make in order to overcome those those limitations? So think about that. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to Pod Caviar, wherever you get your podcast from. Go to twitch.tv/nothavingit. Subscribe there. I'm going to be doing some game caviar later today. Later tonight. It's kind of late on the East Coast. So I've kind of been thinking about doing podcasting one day. And then I really want to dive into streaming hardcore next month. Well, yeah, next month, next year too. Yeah, January is next month. So I want to set aside a day to where I put in some hours, some real long hours doing streaming, and I want to get my setup going again with OBS and the webcam and everything and the green screen, so I can do all this cool shit that everybody else does instead of just having my voice. How much? But for now, go to twitch.tv/nothavingit. Subscribe there. Subscribe to this podcast. Go to shorturl.at and look at the art. Enjoy the art. I just put this banging ass hoodie up there that everybody loves. Go ahead and get that. If you want to make a purchase, use code OGA to get 10% off your order. And subscribe to the 1 Gram Army podcast too. Shout out to Graham. Shout out to the 1 Gram Army podcast. He's on a break right now, but he's still working. And when I tell you the 1 Gram Army podcast will come back better and stronger than ever, believe every syllable. But this is going on for almost 40 minutes, and it's time for us to wrap it up. Again, we can do... hold on. Nah, let's just do... We're going to do 5 random thoughts next episode. I know I keep pushing it back, but I want to make sure it's good. I want to make sure it's polished. I don't want to make I don't want it to be something that is insignificant and easily forgettable. So what I'm thinking is this episode was great. I have content for the next episode. So the second episode in January, I'll do the 5 random thoughts, and then we'll play some Wikipedia roulette. If you're not familiar with Wikipedia roulette, it is when we go to Wikipedia, we hit a random article, and then we see how many good articles we get and how many bad articles we get. Like if we hit random article and it comes up as a page about finches, the little birds, then that's good. If we hit random article and it's about Hitler, that's obviously bad. Good versus bad. Whichever one wins the best out of a 7-game series will be the winner. There's no prizes. It's just something fun that we do on Pod Caviar. So there we go. Thank you for listening to this episode. It was banging. I appreciate all the support. 2022, we're going to be back on it. We're going to hit it to the max. We're going to put it up, turn it up to 11, and we're going to make some moves, make our lane. All the entire Empire of Caviar will be firing on all cylinders, and we are aiming and will take it to the next level. Thank you for listening. This has been a great episode. I'm Tony. This is Pod Caviar, and I'm out.